All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our 10 a.m. call with Jesse Luketa. As always, please raise your hand and I will call on you. We'll start with Greg Pickle.
Thanks, Paul. Good morning, Jesse. How are you?
Morning, Greg. I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for your time. I'm just curious, how was this week different at the start, not knowing who you were gonna play until about 2:00 on Sunday, and are things now kind of back to normal since then?
Yeah, things are back to normal. As far as a preparation standpoint, we were just playing the waiting game. We knew we'd find out once we got into our team meeting on Sunday. So now things are just same as usual.
Joe Giuliano.
Jesse, good morning. Thanks for your time. Could you describe the second half performance by the defense as a whole and the linebacking core especially? I mean, you held them really down the entire second half until that last drive, which didn't go anywhere. But how do you describe the way you guys played on Saturday in that second half?
I'd say the biggest word that fits is resiliency. As far as from the season, we didn't start it off the way we wanted, but we stayed the course, we stayed together, we stayed hungry, especially on that last drive. We came out and we knew what we wanted to do from a defensive standpoint as far as our goals, and we achieved that. We felt, especially holding the team to 62 yards rushing the whole game. That's a big accomplishment, but that's what we expect. That's the standard. So we're really content with that.
New bias Wilborn.
In that second half, particularly on their first drive, what was so different from the second quarter when it seemed like the quarterback was kind of really rolling there? And how do you kind of play that going forward?
We just, for a little bit, we kind of felt like we lost our mojo. They caught some good deep balls. We needed our guys to dogfight. But once we got back out there, we just had to, grit our teeth, put our foot down, and get back to playing when we could play. They had a talented quarterback. He made some really good throws. But we just had to get back to playing our style of football and being consistent all across the board.
Rich Scarcella.
Hi, Jesse. Thanks for your time. I apologize if you were asked this already, but how would you describe this week, these circumstances, and where are you drawing your motivation and your inspiration from? Is it just another week to be 1-0, or is there more to it?
I think there's more to it, especially with our seniors having their senior day this past Saturday. They were honored. They had the opportunity to, really come out that tunnel for what was possibly they thought their last opportunity in Beaver Stadium. We have another opportunity to, in fact, return and play at home. So I feel like that's where we're finding our motivation. We're hungry to go out there and put another week together for our seniors.
Nate Bauer.
Jesse, I'm paraphrasing, but Coach Pry last week said something to the effect of that he kind of simplified the defense as the year went along. What does that mean? Like, what does that look like to simplify it from maybe what you guys came into the year doing?
I would say, in terms of simplifying it, we had a lot of things that we wanted to throw out, and we just felt, going back to the basics would be beneficial for us just to get back to playing, dominating football, especially in the trenches. The game's always run up front, so just going back to what we know our bread and butter is. I feel like that's been beneficial for us.
Tyler Donahue.
Good morning, Jesse. Good to speak with you. Good to see you.
Morning, Tyler.
We heard from Coach Pry, like Nate just mentioned last week, and he mentioned two of your younger teammates as guys who have kind of deserved more time on the field, Curtis Jacobs and Brandon Smith. Can you kind of explain what you've seen from them game to game, week to week, and to where they are now and where they may be headed?
For both those guys, they're hungry. They're students of the game. They're always trying to find ways to improve themselves, and that's big, especially at the linebacker position, because as far as your preparation and what you see in film it's exactly what you're going to be seeing come game day. So seeing how Brandon's been able to progress week to week, it's been big for him, for not only his progression individually, but for us collectively as a defense. Curtis, he's a guy. He's going to be a problem. He's extremely talented. This guy who could play the will backer position. So just having him have the opportunity to earn more opportunities to field and earn Coach Pry's trust is going to be big for him as well.
We'll go to Mark Wogenrich.
Hey, Jesse, for the players signing this week, what do you want them just in general to know about what they're stepping into, not just from a Penn State football perspective, but from a pandemic perspective as well?
From a pandemic perspective, it's not that much different from where they're currently at. They're going to come here, be prepared to kickstart their career at a collegiate level, but they're going to have to make sure they ensure they're doing what's necessary to ensure their health and safety first. Being more reserved to ensure that not only themselves but their teammates are going to be protected from a health standpoint.
Audrey Snyder.
Hey, Jesse, good morning. Thanks for your time. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but the way bowl season is this year, it's such a mess, to say the least. And, bowl invites can kind of come at any point. What do you think it would mean for this team if it would get an invite? And would you personally want to play in a bowl game at this point?
It'd honestly be a great opportunity and an honor to receive a bowl invite. Where we're at as a team right now, we're just focused on, going out strong for our seniors this week and dominating this week. It's going to be a great opportunity if it does come, and it'll be an opportunity that I'm going to make sure I maximize if given. So that's where we're at.
John Petishnock.
Hey, good morning, Jesse. Appreciate your time today. Hey, I wanted to get your perspective on what has the last month or so been like for you and the team with the rest of the Penn State student body, returning home before Thanksgiving, not coming back. I mean, obviously campus feels different this fall than any other time, but I'm just wondering, has the last month, what's that been like for you, and how have you handled that with even more in isolation, perhaps before, with students returning home?
It's been tough, honestly, not having our fans, not having our student body, because as you guys are well aware, we feed off that. People come to Penn State because they want to feed off the 107K. It's a big factor. So not having that a part of the season, it's been tough, but nonetheless, we've had to find ways to manage and keep moving forward. I say a biggest source of motivation and inspiration has just been our brothers, each other. We're reserved. We've been kind of staying out the way and quarantining essentially. So we're with each other all day, every day. And not to say we weren't before, but it's kind of even more emphasized now during this pandemic. So I'm my brother's keeper, really, word for word, no pun intended.
Greg Pickle.
Jesse, it was really not that long ago that signing day was a big celebration for you and your class. How do you view that day differently now as a kind of established member of the program? And do you keep up with recruiting classes throughout the year, or do you just wait till those guys get on campus to see what happens?
Honestly, it's funny because Friday nights we always have someone doing their team share and just giving a little backstory and context to their life and how it translates to their journey to Penn State. And it's crazy because it literally feels like yesterday where I had, it was my time to celebrate signing that national letter of intent. So it's a blessing. I'm excited for all those the guys who are going to be in this upcoming class who get the opportunity to celebrate with their families, especially during this pandemic. There's been so much negative things going on this year that something like this is so good to finally get out of that funk and celebrate with your loved ones. What was the other part of that question, sorry?
Yeah, just do you pay attention to the signing classes or signing class throughout the year, or do you just kind of wait to see what it's like when those guys get on campus?
A little bit of both. I'm not as invested as I was before with recruitment. I try to, especially at the linebacker position, I try to make sure I stay up to date. But for the most part, once they really get on campus, that's when I really start interacting with them and start making sure they feel welcome and they feel comfortable as part of the the locker room and everything.
Rich Garcella.
Jesse, what do you see from the Illinois offense, and what do you expect from them on Saturday?
They're a talented bunch, honestly. From the quarterback position to the running back position. I think Chase Brown, a buddy of mine, Canadian as well. I think he's their best offensive weapon. He's a talented runner. He likes to move. He's wiggly in the backfield, very shifty. And he's a guy that we're gonna have to really, have to minimize early. And the body's gonna have to be one up front in the trenches. So I'm excited for them. They have some talented receivers on that edge. A very talented tight end as well. So it's going to be a good matchup. I like how we match up against them.
Tobias Wilborn.
Jesse, from a defender's perspective, what makes a guy like Parker Washington so hard to tackle?
Shifty. He's very shifty in open space. He's a guy, you guys were finally able to see this past Saturday, when he has the rock in his hand, you don't know what he's going to do. He's electrifying. He's a guy that when he has the ball in your hands, you're going to stand up and you're going to be excited to see what's he going to do next. He's a guy who's, week to week, he's continuing to finally grow into his position and he's honestly looking more and more comfortable. I tell him every day, Parker's going to be great. And I'm excited. He's a guy who's, calm, cool, collected. He's level-headed, extremely humble, and he's hungry. He has that it factor. So I'm excited to see how he's going to continue to progress.
Can I follow real quick? Are you talking about the 31-yard touchdown where he kind of shakes the one guy there?
Absolutely.
The two guys, yeah.
Absolutely. That was the one I'm talking about.
Tyler Donahue.
Jesse, I know you want to play as much football as you can the rest of the year, but have you thought about or do you know what it's going to take to get back home to mom, to the family, crossing that border? Because you told us, you and Jonathan had a pretty wild story getting to campus. What's the process look like for leaving campus and leaving the country, or do you plan on sticking around for winter break? Where are you on that?
Right now, I don't know. I haven't been able to really narrow down my decision because I'm just focused on making sure I can be here for my team as far as, this week and whatever comes our way, the week following. So I kind of have to put that decision on pause. But, getting home to my family, spending time with them during the holidays, especially during this time would be, ideal for me. But we're going to see.
Joe Giuliano.
Jesse, following up on Tyler's question, obviously there's a balance there. You want to play one more game after Saturday with your brothers, but you also, a lot of guys I'm sure want to get to their families, especially those that they haven't seen since leaving home in June. How do you guys handle that balance?
Well, it's a part of our core values. We sacrifice, day in and day out. Especially for me, I've been doing this for quite some time now, being away from my family. I set out with intentions to, play collegiate football at the highest level. And, part of that, sacrificing my time with my family from the time I was 14. So I'm used to it. It's exactly why, I appreciate our core values here because, they don't only apply to, the football aspect of, but it applies to everyday life. So.
Audrey Snyder.
Jesse, we couldn't let you go media session without a question about Micah. How have you guys stayed in touch throughout this? Has he told you anything about this defense this year, about your play? How have those lines of communication been?
Absolutely. We talk almost every day. That's my right hand man. He watches every single game. We talk after the game on, my performance and how I play. The first 3 weeks, I felt like I kept telling him, I feel like there's a higher ceiling I could tap into. And the past 3 weeks, I felt like I've been able to be more consistent and really tap into it. He's felt the same thing. So just being able to go out there, have fun, and put that film together, consistently, that's the standard. And that's the standard he's been holding me up to as well. So, he's been a great person to have in my ear week to week.
We have time for two more. We'll go to Peter Terpstra.
I just want to go back to Saturday real quick. How important was it for the special teams plays you guys made? And has that part of the game kind of been lacking this year? And how good was it to see that kind of thing play out?
It's a great feeling. As I mentioned earlier before the season even started, we take special teams seriously. CTG, changing the game is important for us. Finally for us to have it, really rolling from, Hartlob's, great play against Michigan to Jahan's, 81-yard punt return. That's a standard. We know the type of talent we have on our special teams, and we need to be able to go out there week to week and put it on film. So it's great for not only guys like Jahan and Drew, but for our team, because we're playing complementary football, offense to defense to special teams, and that's what you want week to week from your team. So,
Last question, Tyler Donahue.
Jesse, Coach Pry had a couple things to say last week about tackling. He actually kind of was critical of you and Ellis and your tackling, specifically in space. How important is it as a team leader, as a starter, to be able to take that kind of criticism, whether it's public or privately, and apply that moving forward without it really hurting your feelings? And he also mentioned the lack of spring ball and the lack of a normal preseason camp impacting tackling at Penn State across college football. Has tackling and the fundamentals of it been more of a challenge for you guys than in previous years because of all that?
I'm not going to say that that's an excuse, because that's not who I am as a person or my character. But I feel, being able to have those tough conversations and, be critical of myself, because, I'm my biggest critic. It's important. Coach Pryor holds me up to a high standard, and he knows what I expect out of myself, because I want great things for myself. So he's right. For myself, especially as a leader of this team, a leader of this defense, I can't just lead by, vocally. I have to lead by example. So from taking that criticism and applying it to my game is important. I feel like the past 3 weeks I've been able to apply it and just be more consistent, be diligent with my performance on the field, and just making sure to eliminate that space and just secure home and get that tackle. So it's important.